Research shows that 80 to 90% of people overthink, whether it be a small thing such as how you said sorry to someone, and to big things such as overthinking about your future, what could happen, what's not happening, or is this relationship going somewhere? Is it not going anywhere? Should I leave my job? Should I change? Am I going to get the promotion I applied for? Is my mom going to make it? She's sick. All those things. We tend to overthink a lot of things, and the issue about overthinking is that we put ourselves through the same scenario over and over and over again in hopes that we might find ways to avert any negative outcome. But the truth is, there's nothing you can do. When life happens, and the only thing that overthinking does to us is just make us more anxious and more sad, because we spend so much of our time going through the same scenario over and over and over again. So why do we do that? We do that because we care too much. We care too much about sometimes what other people think. Like if you're overthinking how you acted around a certain person, what you said to that person, you care so much about what that person thinks that you find yourself just overthinking everything you say to that person. Number two, we care too much because maybe we just want that much for ourselves, and it's good, it's okay. It only becomes toxic when we just spend so much of our time overthinking, overanalyzing, and just criticizing ourselves instead of focusing on what the actual problem is. Because honestly, overthinking can lead to serious disorders such as anxiety disorders, where you're just constantly anxious and frustrated about everything that is to come and what's currently happening, to a point where you don't enjoy the present, you don't enjoy thinking about the future. Your past is even worse because your past becomes evidence of all the bad things that could happen. When we are overthinking, most of the time we look at the negatives. You never overthink the positives. Like if something goes right, we rarely find ourselves going back to that moment and trying to relive the good and the happy, nice moments. No. But if it's a bad one, we find ourselves constantly thinking about it, trying to find ways in which you could make it better. If I had said this like this, maybe if I came back like 5 minutes earlier, maybe if I did this, maybe I called earlier, maybe if I did that, that's just how it is. That's just how our brains are wired. They are wired to focus a lot on the negatives than the positives. Why? It's science-backed, I don't know, but that's just how our brains work. So how do we deal with overthinking? I'm not saying stop it, because you can't just be like shut the door and stop it altogether, but how do you deal with it when it happens? What should you do? Be aware of the negative self-talk when it happens, right? Overthinking usually comes from the negative self-talk that we have with ourselves. Obviously, self-talk, so we have with ourselves. So what that looks like is, if you are finding yourself ruminating over that one thing you said to your friend, stop saying things like, oh my god, you're so stupid, why did you say this and this to that person? Oh my god, you're so dumb, how could you apply for that promotion when you don't even qualify for it? You're so dumb, why didn't you do this? Be very conscious of how you speak to yourself, because we tend to speak to ourselves in the harshest ways possible, whereas when we speak to other people, you would never say to somebody, you're so dumb, why would you say that? You're so stupid, why would you do that? Oh my gosh, you're so clumsy, or anything like that. We are very much aware of how we speak to other people. We consider their emotions and their mental state at the time. So speak to yourself the way you would actually speak to other people. In most cases, we don't look at ourselves like we look at our friends. Your friend might see you as a good, happy, bubbly person, but deep down, you don't see yourself as that person. So the best way to kind of snap out of that is to remind yourself that, look, I'm human as well. So I'm going to start speaking to myself the way I would speak to my friend. If I was feeling down right now and one thing didn't go my way today, how would I speak to my friend who comes to me with the same problem? Would I tell her, you are so dumb, how could you do that? How could you make such a mistake? Or would you tell her and sit down and try to encourage her and try to give her words of motivation, of encouragement? You wouldn't break her down. You wouldn't tell her all those mean things. So don't be mean to yourself as well. You deserve the love that you give to others. Number two, we need to stop this victim mentality, right? One thing about overthinking, most of the time we tend to be the victims in most of the situations. I'm not saying in all of them, but in most of the situations, we are the victims of this, of that. Everything is happening to me. Why is that not going this way? Why is this not going that way? Like, you feel like everybody owes you something, but people aren't coming to the party. And for me, that's also giving victim mentality. If you find yourself just constantly thinking about how everybody else is not helping you out, it is time for you to understand that you are not the victim. Okay, you're not a victim, and this is your life. You can take charge of it. Don't let other people tell you how to live your life. Overthinking tends to take away the power from us, and it makes us feel like the only thing that we can do is just to sit at home, ruminate, and keep on thinking about all the bad things that could happen. But the truth is, you have power to change your situation. And if something happens to you, it's okay. Like, learn to let it go. Okay, this is my next point. Learn to let things go. If something happens, life happens, cool. It's life. It life sometimes. So if it happens, let it go. If something happens, there's no solution to it, you let it go. Don't spend the whole day trying to think about it and ruminate on it. It's not going to help you in any way. It's only going to make you feel even worse about yourself. So learn to let it go and just be. Move on with your life and let it go. And move on. But don't be a victim and then be there thinking that everybody owes you things and people aren't coming to the party and all of that. No. Victim mentality makes you overthink a lot of things because you feel like everything is happening to you and you don't have any power whatsoever to control it. So take charge of your life and stop letting people make you feel like you're small. Okay, let go and don't be a victim. Last but never least is social media. Social media. Social media is such a very dangerous, fun place. But because it's so fun, we don't see the dangers of it. When you're on social media, you spend so much of your time constantly watching videos of people who are giving you unsolicited advice. And here's the thing, if you're watching someone who's killing it in life, who's doing all these things, their highlight reels, they are getting up there, they're doing this, they're getting promoted, they're getting married, they're getting everything that they ever wanted, they're getting it, right? You start thinking, oh my goodness, what's wrong with my life? What am I doing that's wrong? Why can't I get this? Why can't I get a boyfriend who loves me so much? Why can't I get a big house? Why can't I travel the world? Why can't I do this? No. If you are the person who goes on social media and every time you're there, you find yourself wanting everyone's lives, envying everyone's lives, it's time to reduce your social media time. Okay, it is time. Otherwise, just cut social media altogether. Like, have days where you're just not going to be on social media, because there is nothing that is as detrimental to your health and well-being as that quick dopamine high you get from social media. And it can easily distort your sense of normalcy, your sense of how real life is supposed to be, to a point where you could be achieving a lot of things, but you don't think it's enough because that person you just watched now just made $1 million at the age of 20. You are 27, you don't even have $1 million rand. So please remember that everything you see on social media, some people are just lying to us, some people are just lucky, some people, they put in the work, they got the money, it's okay. But don't go around envying everything that you see on social media. Okay, people will give you a lot of advice on how you can just stop thinking, just like I'm doing now. People on social media giving you advice on how to stop overthinking. But my point is, listen to what you can listen to, take what you can. The rest of it is just background noise. Let it go. Let it go. Anyway, we spend 100% of our times with ourselves. So you would think we are the nicest to ourselves, but we are not, because in the process of constantly overthinking, we are so mean to ourselves that we don't even pay attention to the things that we say. And the things that we say to ourselves in that moment tend to be the things that kind of linger in our subconscious mind, and they become the beliefs that we build the foundation of who we are on. So be very mindful of how you speak to yourself in other people's absence, when it's just you and you alone. Be your own friend. Speak to yourself like you speak to your friends, because you would never break your friend down unless you're a fake friend. But anyway, guys, until next time, please let me know in the comment section how you have overcome your overthinking habits, or how you are still trying to overcome overthinking and just the self-degrading way of living.